Hi, this is going to walk you through a demonstration using work points, axes, and planes. I'm on Angel, and it's really under third quarter assignments, so course lessons, third quarter assignments, activity 5.2, A2. You can click on this, and you can click right here to get the file, the inventor file, part file that I'm working with. So you'll select it, left click to get the actual inventor file link right here. You right click on that and say save link as. And then you're going to download it. Make sure you go to the right place in your computer. So documents, my inventor files. We've created a folder, inventor training files, and then you can save it right there. And I've already done it and have it open, but you'll save it right here. The only thing I would say is just tack on the end an underscore, last name, first initial. So you've done something to change it from the original so that you know this is yours where you've worked on it. Okay, I'm gonna hit cancel since I've already done that. And I have it ready. So here's the part that I opened. When we say a work point or a work axis or a work plane, we mean that we're creating one of those things really for our benefit to help us construct something. Think of when we did drawings, we talked about using construction lines. So with three-dimensional modeling, we're going to create a work plane, a plane to work on, or an extra axis that we could maybe revolve around, where it's not part of the part that we're creating, but relative to the part, it's out in space in a very precise location. Okay, right here in the middle of the ribbon, I'm under 3D model, and I see some options: point, axis, and plane, and these are the tools that we're going to be using. One way we can do it, we already really know how, and that would be to select, I'm going to select a surface to start a new sketch, just one of the surfaces that I have here. I'm going to right click and say new sketch, and I'm going to be in the sketch part of my ribbon now. I'm going to make a point. And in here, I'm just going to make some random point. I don't want some constraint to automatically appear. So if you see anything happening, let's try not to have it locked down already. So I'm just making a point, right click and say OK. So I'm turning the point tool off. Now that point I could precisely put in space and dimension it. I guess that was exactly 6 inches. Let's go 8 inches. Okay. And maybe we want this distance here to be 2. There we go. Okay. And then finish sketch. And I've just created this point out in space that's in a precise location that I can reference to it. So there's an example of a point that's not part of my part, but maybe I have a purpose for it, and so we'll call that a work point. Okay, now if you go over to axis and hit the little drop down, there's different types of lines that you can make based on different things. You can extend a line or an edge, so we could choose in the drawing an edge here and see how it extends. Parallel to a line through a point. So if we choose that one, what if we choose this point that I just created and then choose, how about this line right here? And let me rotate this around a little bit. You can see that I've created a line in space that's parallel to this vertical edge that I had and through that point. So there's a line now, not just a point over here that I could continue to work on. Oh, I want the ISO. Let's see what else we have. Through 2 points. Okay, so right now Inventor is expecting me to find points. The corners are obvious points for me to find, but what I want you to see is that when you have a segment, a line segment, you can see clearly 2 endpoints. If you drag slowly along near the middle, the midpoint should highlight. And I'm going to make an axis that goes through a midpoint. So actually, how about I go from, yeah, okay, we can do that. I had a different idea, but we'll do that. So midpoint there to this midpoint and make that an angled one. Okay, and how about I make one that's angled from that corner over to this corner. And choose axis again through 2 points. There you go. Okay, and now having done that, I also have an option to create a point with some of those extra things I've added where we get, say, the intersection of two lines. So where this axis I created and this axis intersect, I've just created a point in space. Those are intersecting lines. And so now that's a point that's actually something I can select and use. All right. So that gives you some ideas of how you can create lines that are not part of the part that can be useful. Now under the plane tool, a plane itself, you already can obviously choose the planes that are part of the object. And if you want to start a sketch on those, you can just right click and say new sketch. But perhaps we want to select that. We want to create a plane that's parallel to one of these planes, but offset. There's an offset from plane tool. This creates a work plane parallel to a selected face, and we can specify the distance. So I'm going to choose this vertical face right here. I choose it, and now I can pull away and create a work plane. I can just move it and eyeball it here, or I can put in a precise distance up here. Maybe I want it to be 9.75 inches away. And now that plane is something where I can draw on it. So there's a work plane. I can work on this. I can right click and say new sketch. Let's undo what I did. Okay. Other tools here. You can create a plane that is parallel to a plane and through a point. So if you have a plane you want to be parallel to and through some specific point in space, you can do that. So how about we make a plane that is horizontal, like parallel to this surface, but through that point. Oh, I think I accidentally undid that. Let's escape. Somehow when I made that point, maybe when I hit undo, I got rid of that too. So let's go back and choose the intersection of two lines. And let's choose this line and this line again, get that point to appear. And now let's go choose plane, and we're going to go parallel to a plane through a point. So I'm going to go parallel to this horizontal one, but through that point right there. And you can see that it's horizontal, but it's hovering. Just kind of move things just a little bit, change the angle so you can see it. Okay? So we went through that point in space, and we're parallel to that. Let's look for other options. I can also make a plane that's a mid-plane between two planes. Okay, it'll be, it tries to average those two planes. So I'm going to choose that, and how about we take the one I just created and the horizontal one underneath it again, and notice it's giving me a preview. The two planes that I select do not have to be parallel. That seems to be kind of an obvious choice, maybe, or use, would be to choose two parallel planes. And I'm getting a preview of what's going to get created when I hover there. But look, if I select this face, I'm getting a diagonal plane. And so it's going to average the two that are selected. So I'll go ahead and do this one. And you can say that creates a mid-plane. It's the middle, so that'll be halfway between the other two planes. Every point on that plane will be exactly halfway between the first plane I had selected and this horizontal plane down here. Okay, other options. How about angle? It's an angle to a specific plane, so you can set the angle you are off of a plane you selected and through a line, or they say around an edge, but it's going to go through a line. So how about I'm going to choose this plane right here. I'm going to choose the edge. Okay, and so I have a plane that is going to have to go through that edge, but I can set the angle that it makes with that this vertical face there that I had selected. I can grab this arrow and rotate it, kind of freehand it, or I can get a specific degree typed in here. You know, perhaps that helps me get it close so I can visualize what I've got, and then I can kind of go, oh, and I didn't want that to be 45 degrees, I want it to be 42.5 degrees, you know, something like that. So that was a angle to plane through edge tool. You can pick two coplanar edges, basically two edges that are already in a common plane. Now that plane doesn't have to be drawn, but just the fact that a plane could be drawn through those two. So how about this diagonal vertical edge there, and this one right here? Two vertical lines are always coplanar, so a plane can pass through those two lines. All right, that's another way to create a work plane. Tangent to a surface through edge. This is a good one. Having done the geometric constraints, we've got an idea of what a tangent is. And so right here in my shape, let's go back to an isometric and then I'll tweak it myself. Okay, we've got this curved surface right here, right? So I wanted tangent to a surface through an edge. So I'm going to make a plane maybe that goes through this edge right here, and I want it to angle down such that it will just skim that round surface. I don't want to go through it, I don't want to miss it, but I want to be tangent to it, so where it would rest and hit exactly one point. That's what this tool is going to do. I select it right there, select that curve, and there you go. I have a plane that is passing through that edge and angled such that it just touches that round surface at exactly one place, or really be a line across there. But the plane won't pass through. Okay, and it actually touches, makes contact. If we look at the isometric, you can see how it just skims the edge. Okay, I think those are all the tools I'm going to show for this segment. I'm going to go back to my isometric. I'm going to take a snip. If you don't have it in your taskbar, just search for it in your Windows Start menu, type in snip, and you will find this tool. You can take a screenshot of it to show me your work, save it, make sure you know where you're saving it. Again, documents, my inventor files, inventor training files. Okay, and then you can keep it as the same name of the file itself if you want. It's activity 5.2 A2. And then this picture that you're taking would be the picture that you can turn in. So to do that, just a quick reminder, you would go back into Angel. Okay, you'd go back into this activity, 5.2 A2. Okay, this was in the third quarter assignments if you need a quick reminder. So just to go back out, it was course lessons third quarter, and this is 5.2 A2. Okay, and in here's where you're finding the video link and all that. And down below, this is where you can attach a file. So you can title it, you can put your name here. I would call it 5.2.A2 and your name. And then you can attach it. So this is where you go to find it, choose file. Just navigate through your browser, documents, my inventor files, inventor training files, and I took a picture of it right here. Okay, and then you just say open. Okay, it shows the file that you found. You actually want to upload the file, so say upload, and then it should appear in this box. So that's what you uploaded. Finish. And then very lastly, so that you can see down here that a file has been attached, then you submit.